A familiar face there, huh? Here we go.
Imagine hearing that your child has a genetic disorder so rare that only a handful of families in the world can relate. This is the reality for those affected by KDM5C genetic variants. KDM5C isn't just a gene. It plays a crucial role in regulating other genes throughout our bodies, especially in the brain. When it doesn't function properly, children with KDM5C disorders face profound challenges that touch nearly every part of their lives. They may struggle to speak or move like other kids. They may need support for anxiety, ADHD, and behavioral challenges. For their parents, each day can feel exhausting, but their love and resilience never fade. Amy Roble knows this journey all too well. After years of searching, her family finally received a diagnosis, a mutation in Gabby's KDM5C gene. But with no support or resources, Amy had to build a community herself. Today, hundreds of families lean on each other through the KDM5C support group, sharing stories, resources, and hope. In 2022, they took it a step further, founding the CARES Foundation for KDM5C advocacy, research, education, and support. In 2024, the KDM5C community came together in San Antonio, Texas, for a global conference that brought families, researchers, and clinicians face to face. On Friday night, parents and children met, many for the first time, turning strangers into friends. Saturday's Family and Science Conference shared the latest breakthroughs as families learned side by side with scientists. And Sunday ended with joy and laughter at Morgan's Wonderland, an adaptive theme park, giving families memories that will last a lifetime. For those living with KDM5C disorders, every step is hard-won, every milestone a triumph. The courage, love, and strength within this community inspire us daily. Together, we're not just fighting for answers, we're building a world where every child with KDM5C can live life to the fullest.
So many familiar faces there and wonderful memories from our time together at the conference. We're so grateful to all of you in this community, and we're especially grateful to the one who started it all, our co-founder and board chair, Amy Roble. So this is our third KDM5C Awareness Day, and we've just completed more than 3 years as a nonprofit patient advocacy organization. And Amy is here tonight to briefly share some highlights about the work that CARES Foundation is doing. And so I'm going to pull up our latest impact report. Give me just a second so that she can share with you guys. It's in present mode, and then I will reshare my screen, Amy, and turn it over to you.
Sounds great. Well, thank you everyone, first of all, for being here. And I love seeing so many new faces on the screen. It makes me so happy after the last 3 years that we've been putting into CARES and into the support group and everything. So thank you for being here. Wanted to share some highlights from our impact report of the first 3 years of the CARES Foundation. So there's a picture from our conference last June. So about us, just some highlights about CARES Foundation. It stands for KDM5C Awareness, Research, Education, and Support. And our mission is to improve the lives of those that are affected by KDM5C genetic variants through the advocacy, research, education, and support for our individuals and families. And our vision is where patients and families affected by KDM5C genetic variants are able to achieve their highest attainable health in order to thrive in their communities. And our values is that our work is guided by the following core values, which are hope, innovation, community, and integrity. Um, and so this impact report marks 3 years of CARES. We are so incredibly proud. This all started because my daughter was diagnosed in 2017 when she was 10, and couldn't find anyone else to connect with. And my geneticist suggested starting, or looking for people on Facebook. I couldn't find anyone, so I started my own Facebook group in 2018, and it now has over 800 people, which blows my mind. And we were able to, in 2020, meet up with some other families, and we started talking about the fact that we wanted to, families and researchers, I should say, and we were able to say that we wanted to start some kind of foundation to support our children. And so we launched in 2022, and in 3 short years, we've had some really big accomplishments, like funding research projects and grants, and holding an annual 5K. And our first Family and Science conference was this past year. And we continue to collaborate. And here are some of the numbers. The ones that stand out to me the most are the fact that we've raised $250,000 in the last 3 years. As such an extremely rare disorder, it's incredible what our families have been able to bring together. The fact that we have 7 scientific advisory board members, when we weren't sure that anybody was researching it, to find out that there was multiple scientists that are investing their work in our kids is huge. So those are the things that stand out. And like I said, to have more than 800 support group members now just is mind-blowing. And so some of our biggest highlights from this last year, especially, were our conferences that we attended as board members, where we learned about different research opportunities and other worked with other rare disease communities. We had our own Family and Science conference in San Antonio in last June, just about a year ago, and we had 144 patients, families, caregivers, researchers, clinicians, and other supporters that joined us, both in San Antonio and online. So that was an incredible experience. We also received a Rare Research Readiness Fellowship grant, where some of our board members completed a 6-month mentorship program to help guide our research direction. We also continued our family and community engagement with virtual meetups for families. Some were even in person, where different families in an area could get together and meet each other. We had our family education series, where we've had expert speakers come and talk to us. We've had learning sessions about Rare X, which is our data collection program. And we had a virtual research symposium and all kinds of things. And then obviously today is KDM5C Awareness Day. As probably most of you know who are here, these are some of the common characteristics of our kiddos listed there on the left. KDM5C is a gene that regulates how other genes are turned on and off, especially in neurons. So it can cause all kinds of symptoms and characteristics, as you see there on the left. One of the important ways we learn more about our kids and how we can help them in the future is by gathering research, and we have done, or sorry, gathering data. And we have partnered with RareX, which if you are able to take the time, if you haven't already, to get on there and answer some surveys about your children's characteristics and symptoms, then we are able to work with researchers to see which areas need to be further studied and try to understand our kiddos better. So some of the 3 biggest ones that affect our children seem to be brain and nervous system issues, developmental issues, and behavioral and psychiatric issues. Research is a big important part of our foundation, and in our 2023 we granted our first research grant to Dr. Wexberg and Dr. Wang out of Sick Kids, or the Hospital for Sick Kids in Toronto, and they are studying the diagnostic biomarker to interpret variants of uncertain significance in the KDM5C gene. And then in 2024, we granted Dr. Krausick in her lab to study also variants of uncertain significance because that's an important part of the research because there's a lack of functional data there. And so she's especially studying or particularly the case, I should say, for variants found in females who develop a spectrum of symptoms that can be different from those in the well-described male phenotypes. So we're excited about those grants. And then our priorities for funding that from the money that we raise is our Family and Science Conference, which was in 2024, and then KDM5C research, as we were just saying, family support, and then kind of everything else like administrative costs, savings for the future, and educational opportunities for our board members. So as I mentioned a couple times, our first conference was in 2024, and it was a really exciting experience to hear from our researchers and meet other families and to see our kids interact and watch the similarities. Like it's really a very special experience, and we're happy to announce that our next conference will be in 2026 in Ann Arbor, Michigan, June 26th to the 28th. Really hope that you can join us in person or online, and more information will be coming out about that, but we're really excited and have a lot to look forward to there. And now I'm going to hand it back to Melissa, who's going to introduce some of our volunteer speakers.
Thank you, Amy. It's just wild to me to think about how far we've come in 3 years, but also how in many ways it feels like we're kind of just getting started. We're going to move into the portion of the event that we're calling the welcome party. So we recognize that many KDM5C diagnoses are growing and that some of you here tonight may be newer or new-ish to our community. We strive to create online spaces that uplift and support newly diagnosed families. Whether you've been with us for a long time or just a little bit of time, we hope that the words that are shared tonight will be inspiring and encouraging for you. We've asked some fellow parents and researchers to share, people who have been where you are and so I'm going to briefly introduce each of them. There's 9 of them, I think. And so we're going to kick it off with Jessica Daly, who is a KDM5C mom joining us from Texas.
Hey, everybody. It's great to be here. It's great to see some new names and faces and familiar faces. As Melissa said, we're in Texas, just outside of Austin, Texas, and my son Avery is diagnosed with KDM5C. His diagnosis came just 2 weeks before adoption. And I actually had it in hand before the geneticist called me, before anybody let me know what was going on. And the CARES Foundation was my first stop and like the holy grail of all finds in this journey. The CARES community has been a guiding light for us. Every other direction has felt like a dead end. Physicians, practitioners, no one understands this journey that we're going through, or how many times we have to repeat ourselves or, watch our kids. It's pretty incredible. But every time I've shared updates, questions, random health struggles, this group of passionate people have stepped in to offer love, support, and unwavering community. So through this community, we've made friends worldwide who share our struggles and triumphs. And we're pretty lucky. We've met some friends that have become family through this community.
Thank you, Jessica. And I highly recommend you guys check out Jessica and Johnny's podcast called Struggle Bus Family. It's wonderful and has lots of episodes that you guys can relate to, I'm sure. Next, I am actually not sure if my next person is in here, but Doug Capel from Connecticut, are you here? If not, I'll move on. Okay, so then I want to introduce a future Dr. Amira Mahoney, who works at Julie Seacombe's lab at Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the introduction, Melissa. Again, my name is Amira. I'm a graduate student researcher in Julie Seacombe's lab at Albert Einstein in the Bronx. So I guess my little story behind my involvement with the CARES community was my first immersion was shortly after I joined the lab. I attended the inaugural CARES Family and Science Conference in June in San Antonio, where I actually had the privilege of meeting many of you and was able to speak with a couple of you. And hearing your stories was honestly a transformative experience. And it helped me deepen the understanding of KDM5C and how important and meaningful the connections between researchers and families are. There were many tear-jerking moments that reminded me that we're a strong relationship that, I'm hoping that will continue in the future. So as Melissa had shared, I will be a future doctor. I'm in a path to an MD PhD program. And my involvement with the CARES Foundation has actually really solidified my path to pursue a future in neurodevelopmental disease, neurodevelopmental research, and become a child neurologist. So, the community has been such an amazing way for me to kind of learn from the families and the kids and kind of take my career path and forge that path that way. But a little quick blurb about my research is part of my research in Julie's lab is that I work with the Rare X data set. And I'm focused on identifying novel, previously unreported genetic variants and mapping the clinical landscape of KDM5C. And with that, in order to make these meaningful discoveries and share them with the CARES Foundation, we need complete data and complete data set. So I'm working with as much data as we possibly can. But obviously, it's just been amazing to be able to actively participate with everyone here and kind of learn from the community, and seeing the surveys and uploading the genetic reports has been very meaningful. So it's been, I don't know, I have no words as to how excited I am to be able to work with the data set and work closely with the families in the CARES Foundation. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Amira. And it's equally exciting for us to see how bright the future of medicine is with all of the young people and students who have joined our community and who have been impacted by the community in their career paths. So that's really exciting. Next, we're going to go to someone who you may recognize from hosting this event 2 years ago, a KDM5C affected adult who's from Oregon and a student in San Diego, currently, Olivia Philippi.
So hi, my name is Olivia Philippi, and as Melissa said, I'm from Portland, Oregon. I have KDM5C, and I was diagnosed with it in 2020 when I was 16 years old. It took me 16 years to be diagnosed, and I have more of the physical symptoms, like challenges with coordination, hand tremors, strabismus, leg pain, and challenges with proprioception. I also have some of the gastrointestinal symptoms of KDM5C, and the severe anxiety and ADHD that a lot of patients with KDM5C have. I am a senior at the University of San Diego, studying behavioral neuroscience and biomedical ethics. And I hope to eventually go to medical school and do research. So.
Thank you, Olivia. I get chills thinking about your story. And it's just really exciting to have you here. And I know many of us have relied on Olivia in the Facebook group to kind of be the voice sometimes for, symptoms that some of our kiddos maybe can't always express. And so we're grateful to you for that and for being a part of our community. Next, I'm going to, another KDM5C mom from Texas. Texas is always representing and coming out strong. Lisa Ashcraft.
Hi, I'm Lisa. So being told your child has a rare genetic diagnosis like KDM5C can be so overwhelming, isolating, and full of uncertainties. And when Roman was first diagnosed in 2023, we just felt like we were left with more questions than answers. But then we found the KDM5C group and the CARES Foundation and felt like such a sense of relief. They've empowered families like mine through research, educational resources, and emotional support to turn fear and confusion into actions and connection. Being a part of this village has given me strength, knowledge, and hope to advocate in ways that I'd never imagined before. I even decided to become a speech therapist because I don't know, I feel like I'm just capable of trying to do what will help him in the long run. And rare diseases may be scarce by definition, but the strength of this community is anything but that. Behind every diagnosis is a story, a family navigating the unknown, a patient fighting every day for answers, and a circle of caregivers, researchers, and advocates refusing to give up. To every new family beginning this journey, you are not alone. Today, we are showing the world that rare is strong, rare is brave, and rare is worth fighting for.
Thank you, Lisa. Another inspiring story. And it was great to meet you at the conference and to also share about how our sons are facing similar challenges sometimes. Next, we will go to a KDM5C mom from Florida, Kelly Sharkey.
Hi, everyone. I feel like our story is pretty similar to a lot of parents in that we noticed that our daughter was not meeting milestones. We didn't really know why. Doctors were like, man, maybe it's something genetic. Maybe it's, she'll grow into whatever it is. And we noticed she wasn't talking. Like, we thought maybe she'll, eventually she'll walk, and we thought it was a big deal and talked to the doctors about the walking, and they're like, no, if she's not talking, that's a big concern. We're like, all right, well, what do we do? So we started her with speech therapy and different things and different doctors until we finally were referred for genetic testing. And we had the genetic testing, and she was diagnosed with KDM5C, and the geneticist was like, unfortunately, I don't really know anything about this, but I heard that there's a Facebook group. And this was in 2021 when she was 6. So I looked up the Facebook group, and I had no idea that was going to be the resource that we would find, where we'd meet other families, she could meet other kids, and we would finally have like a resource where we could ask questions and help other people. So this community has been everything for us with KDM5C. And I think Jenna, like my daughter, really looks up to a lot of the other kids. Like she was so excited to meet some of the older girls, especially. And like, Peyton's birthday was yesterday, and she was like, oh, it's so important for her to be able to see that, like, yeah, she's got struggles, but she's not the only one, and she can do anything that she wants to do. So I'm super thankful to be part of this community.
Thank you, Kelly. I think we can all relate to that feeling of gratitude when we found the group. Next, we're going to go to Jerry Lowry, who some of you may know as Amanda's husband, but he's a very active KDM5C dad in Illinois. Jerry?
Yes. So, hi, my name is Jerry Lowry. I'm glad you all found the CARES KDM5C group. Like the rest of the families today, we found this group to be a sense of community to me and my family. I'm a father of Jack. He's 15 years old now, and I also have twins, Ella and Owen, and they're 11. From the time that Jack was born, there were small clues that there was something going on, but he was our first child, so we went with the flow. We didn't know what to think. He started therapies at a very young age, and early genetic testing didn't show anything. So later we took him back in at age 7 for more genetic testing, and that's when we found that he had KDM5C mutation. The conference last year in San Antonio was great for our family. It was awesome to meet everyone and get to know other families and hear how we all navigate this journey. My wife, Amanda, one of the founding members of the CARES Foundation in 2022, we've been passionate about fundraising and hosting in-person 5K for the last 3 going on 4 years. My family and our community have been very supportive in the 5K. The fundraising event is the main source of revenue for the CARES Foundation. The funds raised are necessary to keep pushing for the research and advocacy for individuals impacted by KDM5C. We have a small community of close friends, and we utilize the strength of each person to help us solicit local businesses, community groups, and advertise as much as possible to get the word out regarding the CARES Foundation. We feel that hosting a 5K has been a great opportunity to educate and share information about the disorder, and it has helped people within our community understand a bit more about Jack. We typically have about 4 committee members within our Jack's Pack in our to prepare for our 5K event. The first steps are to reach out to the people and to utilize the CARES materials and ask for sponsorship. Then we pass out flyers, and as well as using social media to advertise for the 5K event. Last year, we sent flyers home with we sent flyers home with every kid to the grade school that Jack attended about the event, and we also did it to the adjacent town next to us. And so between 2 grade schools, they all had flyers and knew about the event. Every year, our race participation has continued to grow, and the event it's always a fun morning of the event. Last year, we hosted a cookout at our local grocery store to kick off the fundraising. We did a pulled pork event, and we sold out. A friend also organized the bourbon raffle, which was a huge hit and was very successful in raising funds for Jack's Pack. In 2024, Jack's Pack raised over $25,000. So we just big supporters of just doing whatever we can to do the 5K and to support and raise as much money as possible. So thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening.
Thank you, and thank you for all the work that you guys put in. If you guys need 5K mentors to help you set up your team, definitely the Lowries and the Sharkies are the ones to contact for that. And I see Jack there in the back. He was just a bright light entertaining everyone at the conference. Hi, Jack. And we have a couple more speakers who are going to share. So I'll go to Taylor Leal, and then I'll go to Ilakaya after that. Taylor is a KDM5C mom in Michigan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Taylor, and I just want to quickly introduce my family. I have a husband named Joe, our amazing son Jackson, who's 8 years old, who is diagnosed with KDM5C. We have a spirited daughter, Blake. She's 5, and we have a new addition to our family. His name is Crew, and he's 7 months old. Our journey with KDM5C began about maybe 4 years ago when Jackson got his initial diagnosis. And I still go back to that day, and I remember the uncertainty and the feeling of not knowing what the future would look like for him or for us. Looking back, I wish I would have known how resilient not only Jackson would be, but how resilient myself, my husband, and our family would end up being. One of our biggest blessings along the way would definitely be when we found the CARES Foundation in the Facebook group. It's not just a resource, it's a family that wraps you up when you need it most. Through the CARES Foundation, we've met people who actually get it. And I know you know how much that means to find those people who actually get it, who understand the hard days, the people who celebrate wins, no matter how small they are. And it's a reminder that we're really not in this alone. If I could go back and tell myself one thing at the beginning of this journey, it would be this: it's going to be okay. It really is going to be okay. And I'm not saying that to sound toxically positive, because gosh, I know how hard this journey is for all of us. But I do promise you this, that you'll find strength that you didn't know that you had, and you'll find people who will walk alongside you. And most of all, your child will surprise you every single day. So it is an honor to be here and have this amazing community to walk with. So thank you guys for letting me share.
Thank you, Taylor. And now that we're all crying, I'll go to our last speaker to share, who is another student representing the future of science and medicine, Ilakaya, who is joining us from the University of Michigan.
Hello, everyone. And it's wonderful to see you all here. As Melissa mentioned, I'm Ilakia Venkatachalam. I'm a student researcher at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And when you or someone in your family got a KDM5C diagnosis, I'm sure there are a lot of things that you would want to know about what's happening. And my entire PhD training, what I'm doing right now, is dedicated to helping you with a part of that. My goal is to research and expand our scientific knowledge of what KDM5C is doing in our bodies so we can better understand the scope of what is changing when you have a KDM5C diagnosis. I work with my professor, Dr. Shigeki Iwase, to do this research, and it's been an absolute honor to be working for you all every day, sitting at my lab bench. And in parallel with the pursuit of science, what we're doing to better understand what is happening, your lived experiences are happening every single day. And the CARES Foundation is a fantastic and amazing community to share that experience with. It's a great group of supporters, well-wishers, scientific thinkers, and a source of strength. So thank you for letting me be a part of your community, and I hope to continue to serve you well.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our speakers tonight for sharing your words of hope and support. Sometimes the best medicine is the solidarity that we find in one another. I want to make a couple of announcements, and then we'll have an opportunity to break into some breakout groups. But I just want to share some dates with you guys so that you can mark your calendars. Our next CARES 5K for KDM5C, which is our biggest fundraiser of the year, is happening the weekend of September 27th and 28th. Many of you have created race teams before. You can go to runsignup.com/cares to get all of the information that you need and reach out to any of us, the leaders here on the call, and we're happy to help you set that up. But it has officially launched for 2025. And then Amy mentioned the conference, so I just wanted to plug those dates again one more time. So the next Family and Science Conference will happen next summer, June 26th through 28th, 2026, in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the University of Michigan. So we're very excited to be hosting that in collaboration with Dr. Iwase's lab. Community matters, and to that effect, if you would like to stay a bit longer, I'm going to open up several breakout rooms so that you can take the opportunity to connect with other parents, with our researchers, to introduce yourself to someone new in a small group. And so those will randomly populate here in a couple of minutes, and I'll ask that any of our CARES volunteers, board members, interns, or CARES leadership who are here tonight help to facilitate those introductions in the group that you end up in. And I'm going to leave those open for as long as you would like. So your group can decide when to call it a night and when to hop off the call. I'm not going to call everybody back into the main room. So I'll just say again, thank you to everyone, families, friends, researchers, and volunteers who joined us tonight. Happy KDM5C Awareness Day. Spread the word, share the posts. Whether you shared your story or just listened in tonight, your presence helps us build this strong, resilient community. And I'm going to create those breakout groups, but when you close out of the call before you leave for the night, there will be a short survey that appears, so please take that as well. And I'm going to go ahead and create those, and you will be automatically assigned to a group. Thanks, everyone. And if you need to drop off, you can do that as well.
you.